Hello, this is Asif Zaman, and I have made this socket tester. What is basically socket tester? Sometimes we make some application which is basically stream based, or we have live data like a quick buzz, which is basically live streaming, which is basically works with live streaming, some and YouTube or video streaming. So we need sometimes web sockets. So to I have seen that there are a lot of problems to test basically the web sockets. We need Jmeter and much more plugins we need to install on Jmeter, and it's a long process to test a WebSocket and WebSocket health as well as the connection log. So I'm engaged with a project in my office, which is basically a live streaming, or I have some data that I need to work with real time. So I'm developing a real time application. Basically, I need to test my WebSocket, and which is basic. My socket server is actually installed on premise in the data center of my office. So sometimes I need to test the WebSockets, and in order to test, I used to use basically the Jmeter, which is basically tough to use because there is an external plugin manager that I need to download, and after downloading the plugin manager, we need to download WebSocket. We need to write the scripts. We need to test plan the to test that socket. So sometimes it's very hectic when you are in development. So I have developed a socket tester tool. It's basically under the development stage. There are a lot more features that I'm developing currently, but this is basically, you can say, a beta version where you can just put your socket IP, put your socket port if you have on-premise data center and you have your own IP of the server. You can say there, you can, if you have any kind of link, any kind of HTTP or any kind of other link, you can also put it here. You can give a port if you have a port number of your server. You can say a acknowledgement delay, because sometimes we need to ping server and we need to ping after some durations. If you guys worked with uh, the socket, you know that sometimes we have some types of socket that we need to keep them alive, and always we need to send the ping message to get the pong message. So this is the ping and pong. Basically we know about the server, so we need to send acknowledgement data. It's basically blank data, or sometimes we may have uh, different types of acknowledgement data to send the server. So if we need to send some acknowledgement, we after some durations we can write it here. What is the duration? What is the duration that you want to send the data? And this is the request connection message. This is optional because sometimes we have some socket credentials and we have socket validation in order to claim the session. So I have the session ID, so I need to send initial data to claim the session. So it is optional, and it is an acknowledgement message. What sometimes this acknowledgement delay will work with this acknowledgement message, because acknowledgement message type is different. Mm, uh, so I have made it optional. This is the threads. So what is threads? I have used multi-threading here, by which you can put some bunch of custom threads. You can generate threads, and as my a web application, as this web application or socket tool supports multi-threading, you can use multiple threads, but there is a limitation, that is 512. So as we know, due to the security issues, the browsers only supports, the Mozilla Firefox supports 200 to 255 threads in one domain, So ultimately, and Chrome maybe supports 200 to 255 threads per request. So ultimately, for security reasons, we can, in one profile, in one browser profile, we can send only or we can create only 200 approximately users. So after that, you can connect you can connect your socket, and you can monitor your socket health whole day, or as much uh, as your preference, that how many times or how long you need to test your socket health. You can get the graph here, graphical representation of your log. So you can get the send messages, you can get the received messages by your socket, you can get the information when your connection got closed, when your connection got forcefully closed by any kind of users. So basically here, what is basically use case? The use case is to monitor the socket health of this tool, because sometimes we need to know that is there any kind of problem on the socket server or not. So we need to monitor it. So that's why we need to test for a long time, maybe 4 to 6 hours, and we need to check the log when the connection got disconnected, when the connection was forcefully disconnected, and why disconnected. So we need to, as a developer, when we need to test, we basically test by seeing the log. So this was basically hectic. So if you just use this tool, you can get a graphical representation that when your connection got closed, when your connection was forcefully disconnected, when you send the message, and when you receive the message. So like, I have a socket, and it's basically I found on just webs. So this is basically the socket. So I am just copying the socket. So I have copied, and if I just paste it here, we can see I have got a link, and we don't have any kind of port, but currently I have not implemented the validation here, so I am just giving a random port, and I want to send my acknowledgement handshake after 5 seconds, and I have no session ID, so I am not giving it here. It's for my personal use. It's acknowledgement message, as it's already sending me the data automatically, so I don't need to write acknowledgement message. It's also for my personal use. I want to uh, I want to create one thread or one user. So if I connect, then you may see that already we have got the message. We are getting the message. We are getting the live stream data, and the graphical representation is basically asynchronous. It's basically non-blocking method. As I have previously mentioned, I have used multi-threading here. So I have used one main thread to display this data, and that main thread is basically asynchronous, generating the asynchronous data. You can see there are lots of workers. This is worker one, because when we need to use multi-threading in JavaScript, we need to use the worker library. So I have used one worker. If you want to disconnect, you can see disconnected, and you can see a pink line here at the last, at 12:08 a.m., because it's already my time here, 12:08 a.m. I have closed my WebSocket, and the data is here. So if you zoom out, you can see the previous data as well. So if I see my last data, what is the last data? This is the forcefully disconnection line. So I can see that at 12:08 a.m. the connection got disconnected by someone. And yeah, and if you see here, there are lots of milliseconds notations, as well as the graphs are generating by using only the seconds. And if I want to change the acknowledgement delay, you may see that after 2 seconds, this blue line is acknowledgement. So I'm sending the acknowledgement, and this uh, greenish line is basically received message by the socket. So now I can see I will say I am sending the acknowledgement. You can see the blue line after 2 seconds duration, and in 2 seconds duration I am getting the messages. So if I increase the thread or the users, so I am disconnecting again forcefully, and the log is here disconnected forcefully, and you can get the time, you can get the graph as well. And if I just increase the acknowledgement delay and number of threads, 100 users. Okay, so connect, you can see, yeah, you can see the thread is high and there are lots of users. Only 90 users got connected, and the connection request is 100. Yes, 100 users got connected, and you can see there is a lot of fluctuations on the graph because high memory consumption is going on. And you can see there are lots more real-time data because the socket is now serving 100 users. So it's basically high calculation, and you can see the fluctuations are so frequent. So here you can monitor when the socket got disconnected. You can see that if I connect 100 users, then what is the load capacity of my socket and when it is getting disconnected. So you can monitor from here. You can forcefully disconnect. So if sometimes your connection got forcefully disconnected, then you may see when it is getting disconnected. So this way basically you can monitor your socket health. You can monitor the live log for a long day. And i'm developing uh, I'm developing as well currently, and this is basically very beta version, and some features I'm going to implement soon, like avail 24 hours data, log plus graph. You can generate the graph, you can download the graph and logs as well as a txt file. You can and there is also, I have implemented another functionality today, that is exceptional backoff, reconnect automatically. Like if somehow your server got disconnect by load shedding or any kind of power cutoff, then you can see the red line here. If I test like if I test this way, that I'm connecting again. Okay, I'm connecting again with one user. Listen very carefully because it's very useful. So I want to request to connect one user. Okay, so if I want to, okay, I'm gonna refresh again because it's not refreshing. Okay, so this is basically all of my info. I'm going to send the acknowledgement after 500 millisecond and connect. Then I can see, yes, I'm receiving the data, and now I'm going to send the acknowledgement. Yes, acknowledgement send, again got the data. And now I want to just uh, modify this WebSocket. Thus I can see that the connection is getting closed or not. Okay, when I just I have modified. Okay, that I need to HTTPS, I need to disconnect it and just monitor just like here, connect. And we have got some connection close connections. So what is this? What is difference between the forcefully disconnection and the close connection? The forcefully disconnection means someone uh, someone some for some user or for some admin has done something that servers got off. And what is close connections? Close connections is basically the issue of load shedding, or your application is not pinging the server. So that's why we are unable to receive any kind of data, or your application is not actually cannot able to find any kind of endpoint of your WebSocket, or it's not actually it's unable to find any kind of WebSocket like that, obviously, because we have intentionally modified the link. So this is basically problem. And you can see this is basically the exceptional backoff. That means it's trying to exponentially 1 second, 2 second, 4 second, 8 seconds, 16 seconds, 32 seconds, this way. Means exponentially it's trying to ping the server in order to, when it's alive again, when the server got alive again, then it's connect automatically. So this way we have implemented exceptional backoff, or retry exceptional backoff or retry automatically to the server. If I just reconnect, I want to reconnect it, then I just connect. When I just press connect, then it will automatically connect. So this way it is, you can monitor that when you block your port, by using the firewall, you can see that when server got disconnected, it is actually got disconnected, application is showing the disconnection information, as well as when your server got alive again, it's automatically connecting. So it's basically exceptional backoff retry, or exceptional backoff technique that I have used. So there are a lot of techniques that the live monitoring has been used, and there are lots of live logs data you can monitor. You can monitor your socket health all day long, thus you can just ensure that yes, your web server is okay or not. So this is basically the very beta version of my socket tester, and I have made it basically for my personal usage, as I have previously mentioned. So there are lots of mistakes, and there are lots of, I guess, the lackings and limitations you can see, but soon I will fix it, and I will live I will make it live, because this is very useful tool, I guess so. So thank you. See you soon.